webinar organized by. Very good evening. I cordially invite all of you for the webinar organized by the Institute of Company Secretaries of India on the topic recent changes and open issues in GST. Today we have an eminent faculty, a thorough professional, Mr. C.A. Bimal Jain. He is going to dwell upon the areas in GST, the recent changes and open issues in GST. Before I give the forum to the Mr. Bimal Jain, I briefly introduce him. Mr. Bimal Jain is a chartered accountant and also a company secretary and also a LLB with almost 21 years of indirect taxation experience. He is also the chairman of the Indirect Tax Committee of PSG Chamber of Commerce. He is an author of a book on GST titled GST Law and Analysis with Conceptual Procedures. He is basically a member of the CA Institute as well as the CS Institute. He is also a qualified SAP FICO consultant, and he is having more than 21 years of experience in indirect taxation and specialized in all areas of indirect tax. He is having a work experience of almost 18 years in known companies. Now currently he is the executive director of A to Z Tax Corp LLP, an indirect tax firm. He is a chairman of Indirect Tax Committee of PSG Chamber of Commerce. He is also the chairman of the Corporate Advisory Committee of IPEM Group of Institutions. He is also the member of the Indirect Tax Committee of Assocham FICCI. Interestingly, he is also one of the keynote speakers at the Guinness World Record made by the ICSI in largest taxation lesson on GST, wherein almost 4,500 participants have been attended 3 years before exactly. He is also the business leader from Amity School of Noida. He is also the best speaker. He also got the best speaker award from NARC of ICAI and ICWI. He holds an Young Achievers Award at Igniting Minds 2015, and he is advising many clients across India. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I came to know that you are not going to present any PowerPoint, and I presume that your points will be more powerful than the PowerPoint. All is yours. How we can structure this particular webinar is you can speak about the recent changes and open issues. After say an hour or so, there are some questions received from our eminent members. I'm actually sorting it out one by one, and I will post it to you. Then you can answer all those questions also, sir.
Thank you.
I welcome all the eminent members and students to this live webinar organized by ICSI. The floor is yours.
Thank you. At the outset, let me greet each one of you, all the members and students. I never tell them student, they are future company secretaries. I always say FCS, future company secretaries. And for this particular webinar, which is on recent changes and open issues in GST. Before I dwell on the issue, at the outset, let me thank President and all the Central Council Managing Committee member, especially Manish Gupta ji, for inviting me for today's webinar on GST. I know that company secretary are playing a pivotal role, a vital role in any company at whatever position they are, because they are at the helm of affairs. They are looking after legal compliances. They are doing secretarial compliances. They are signing the balance sheet, which is talked about true and fair view of any business organization. So without a signature of company secretary, nothing is going to a public, and public is going to rely on the financial numbers, which is giving true and fair view only after signature of a company secretary. How much important our signature is? When I was introduced like that, I'm a chartered accountant, company secretary, I was feeling proud that I'm company secretary first, then chartered accountant. I know that company secretary being legal and secretarial, they are a certain kind of, your interest that does not go to that level in indirect taxes or GST, which we should have. Why I'm saying so? For the simple reason that today, if you look at supply chain for goods or for services, anything without GST cannot complete. So it is very much important when being company secretary, we are signing balance sheet, we are giving certification for the legal compliances and secretarial compliances. Unless we carry a fair level of GST knowledge, we will not be able to give such kind of certificate. If I don't know what is the GST provision on my inward supplies, if I do not know what is the GST provision on my outward supply, tell me, any legal and secretarial report signed by any company secretary would be called as forceful document, authentic document. First of all, for document to be authenticated, I must be strong enough, competent enough to have fair amount of GST knowledge. And as I said, without GST knowledge, nothing can happen in this GDP, supply chain of goods or services, because GST play important role for availing credit, or in case credit is not available. I saw some of the queries wherein one company secretary asking me, what is the concept of block credit? If we do not know what is the concept of block credit, then we will not be really going further and will not understand the implication of GST. As I'm saying, I can put one example to you and which I can resolve at the end. Let's say you are getting your office constructed, your factory constructed by a contractor, Bimal Jain. Bimal Jain is a contractor to whom you have given a work contract for construction of factory or construction of your office. In that factory, you are going to manufacture goods, and goods are chargeable to GST, or office, and wherefrom you are going to undertake for the provision of taxable supplies of services. I'm asking each one of you, being contractor, I'm going to charge on construction of that factory or office which you have given me the assignment. Now tell me, you're going to use this factory, you're going to use this office for your business in the course of furtherance of business. Tell me whether credit is available or not. Because this one question which I'm putting to you, to just invite and igniting your mind that any legal and secretarial report or signing balance sheet is incomplete till the time we understand implication of GST on a supply chain, on revenue side or on cost side. Maybe credit available which you may not have availed, or credit not available which wrongly you have availed, may have implication in GST. So credit avail and not avail may result into profitability or cost. So these are all interrelated items. So what I'm saying, I'm going to deliberate on GST today. I know all of you are more focused on legal and secretarial. Allow me for 1 hour today. Give me your 1 hour today. I'm buying your 1 hour today. Give me this 1 hour. I will try to make GST really good and simple for you. Because GST may add to your profile, to your career, a beautification, I can tell you. Like when you take something, you're taking bread, but butter and cream add its taste and values. Similarly, I can tell you GST is going to add values in your career, in your profile, in your company position. Just what you have to do, you have to open up yourself. Even though the subject matter, maybe you're not interested at first go, or you're interested, but you do not know where from you should start with, or you know, but you want to get experience yourself. I will try my best today. 1 hour, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and thereafter we will have question answer session. Rest assured, ask as many questions as you got. Rest assured, within the time frame given to me, I will try my best to resolve your queries. What I'm looking from you, I'm looking active participation. Pay focus. Be dedicated. 1 hour I'm looking from you, and definitely I'm going to help you out. So now coming to my presentation, topic is divided into two pendulum. One is called recent changes, another one is called open issues. I will do mix of it. I will try to make live session for you so that you would be really cherishing and enjoying this webinar, which is going extempo way presentation from my side. So let me start with first open issues. There's a recent ruling, and before I say, I really want that in a chat box you can always write yes, no, whatever you know the answer. And recent one advanced ruling in the Claycraft India Private Limited. One judgment has come and which has started debated at length pan India, and the topic is whether GST leviable on directors' fees. We pay fees to the director of the company with a GST leviable on the director fees. If leviable, assume hypothetically, it would be forward charge or reverse charge. Forward charge means the person who is supplying services, he must charge GST. So director giving services to the company, he would be supplier. So if it is forward charge, you have to think on those lines. Is it forward charge or reverse charge? Reverse charge means recipient, which is the company. They need to discharge the liability. Second question. Third question, what happened if director is giving services and those are called other services, not in the capacity of director, not in the capacity of director. Now this one advanced ruling which has come has started pan-India debate whether GST leviable or not. Now I have given three questions to you. I will resolve all the three questions one after another. First question. When company pays director fees to the director, whether GST leviable or not? To answer to everyone here, please, you can have a piece of paper, a pen and pencil. You can note down because this may help you later to digest these provisions, which I'm going to reiterate in my deliberation now. If director is a whole-time director and working in a capacity of employee and providing their services to the company under employment contract, wherein company deduct TDS, tax deducted at source, under section 192 of Income Tax Act, because the relationship is employee versus employer, employment contract. That's the reason TDS is getting deducted under section 192. Then my opinion is no GST, no GST leviable neither on forward charge nor on reverse charge. nor on forward charge, nor on reverse charge. Forward charge means in the hands of director, reverse charge means in the hands of company. But how to prove that this director to whom we are paying certain amount by whatever name called, which we are treating as a salary and deducting TDS under section 192, how to prove he is working in the capacity of employee to the company? See, as a legal, we must know what is the document we are getting signed by the director. If he is a whole-time director, implied, assumed that he is employed to the company, even though he is not a whole-time director. Maybe he is working for 3 companies, but scope of services talks about employment. Remuneration are being paid in the capacity of salary, TDS deducted under section 192. So what I'm saying, document signed between 2 parties with the scope of services, that is going to say whether this is an employment contract or not. And why I have concluded that the employment contract is not chargeable to GST, neither on forward charge nor on reverse charge, for simple reason, there is entry number 1, schedule 3, and these point you may note. Maybe tomorrow it is going to help you out. Entry 1, schedule 3 of CGST Act 2017. It says services by employee to the employer in the course of employment, that is neither a supply of goods nor supply of services. Thereby I said that director, company, it is like employee, employer, 192 under Income Tax Act, TDS deducted, and you find that this transaction is of employment, which may come out from Provident Fund provision, ESI provision. Then in such cases, no GST, neither on forward charge nor on reverse charge method. Having said that, now I'm going to tell you one important parameter. If it is not employment contract, assume you are paying meeting fees to the director and it is not under employment contract, then what happened? Whether GST leviable? This is the next question which I'm posting to full audience here. If director is supplying services not in the capacity of employee to the company, in that case, this is chargeable to GST, GST leviable. So next question which I'm going to ask you, would be on forward charge or reverse charge method. Forward charge means director must take registration, charge GST. This is called forward charge because he's a supplier of service. Reverse charge? No. Company will discharge GST liability for services of director to the company, not like employment contract. So wherever there is no employment contract, in that case, director services to the company would be falling under reverse charge method, meaning thereby company need to pay GST liability. And where it is written, note down entry 6, notification number 13/2017. It's a reverse charge notification under GST. So I've solved your 2 queries. Now coming to the third query. Sometimes we have seen the director provide other services other than in a capacity of director. So let's take an example and proceed further. I'm a director but not under employment contract of a particular company, let's say ABC Limited. Now I'm being paid 2 lakh rupees per month, or you can divide 2 lakh rupees into multiple mode of payment can be divided depending on the company and director. But I'm not under employment contract. Maybe I'm independent director. Maybe I'm a nominated director. I'm saying because those are not specifically employed, not coming under employment contract. That is what. So name is not important. Substance over form need to be looked at. What is the substance? I can tell you that in hospital industry, those doctors providing services to the hospital, doctors provided services to the hospital, you will find pan-India different practices are being followed. The major practice which I have come across, that such doctors are giving services to the hospital as a professional service provider. They are not under employment contract. And whenever they are being paid by hospital, 194J, section 194J of Income Tax Act TDS are being deducted. So you have to really look at the contract when I'm talking about director services to the company. So I said I'm a director of the company ABC Limited. I'm giving certain services in a capacity of director, but not under employment contract. But additionally, I have also let out my commercial property. I'm the owner of commercial property. I have let out this commercial property to this company ABC Limited, and I'm being paid 3 lakh rupees rental per month. 3 lakh rupees rental per month, and 2 lakh I was getting in the capacity of director. Now I'm posting query to all of you. 2 lakh which I'm being paid in the capacity of director, not under employment contract. I'm sure you must have concluded that it is going to fall under reverse charge method. What about this 3 lakh rupees which I'm being paid because I've let out my commercial property to the ABC Limited, the same company? Can this amount be stated fall in the services given by director to the company? No, it will not be. This is not the services in the capacity of director. Then Bimal Jain is becoming supplier of service for letting out commercial property. In that case, Bimal Jain has to take registration because threshold limit for supplier of service for taking registration in GST is 20 lakh rupees. So 3 lakh rupees per month, meaning thereby 36 lakh per annum, crossing 20 lakh, registration need to be taken by Bimal Jain as a supplier of service for letting out the property, and then charge GST and a forward charge method for this 3 lakh rupees per month. So this was the first open issues, and multiple debate is going on whether GST leviable on director fees or not. I would like to recall, before I conclude this open issue, that even in pre-GST era, prior to 1st July 2017, this was much debated issue, and it was again under reverse charge method prior to 1st July 2017 by notification number 30/2012 post negative list regime. Now in pre-GST era also it was under reverse charge, but with a specific clarification. There was education guide which clearly says and state, if director providing services in the capacity of employee, then no reverse charge method, no GST. only other than employment contract, GST will come into the picture and with reverse charge method in the hands of company. So this was the first open issue. Now what you can do at the end of my session today, I'm going to share my number with each one of you. During COVID-19, we want to help each other. We want to learn from each other, free of cost. We need to have something build up ourselves. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. That's what the slogan we are using. So we have to really go together, walk the talk. I will try my best. Those who are watching today's webcast, they must get benefited. Now I'm coming to topic number 2, and which is called recent changes. Then I will again touch base open issues. So go with me. I will make it like a platter to you. First, you ordered from South India, like Mr. Subramaniam is there. So he ordered idli and dosa. So I serve idli and dosa to all of you. Now I am going with the North Indian food, and this North Indian food is recent changes. Now you need to take down, and that's the important part. In recent changes, you know that Honorable Finance Minister has made many tax relief measures. On 24th March 2020, and for this tax relief measure, the various notification got issued, and notification number 30 to 36, 2020, all dated 3rd April 2020, read with circular number 136 dated 3rd April 2020. So I'm not going to bombard you with the notification number, circular number, but I'm here to let you know that what are the recent changes for this COVID-19 time period, which is being announced, notified as a tax relief measure. So let's listen very carefully. See, during COVID-19 time period, you would be thinking and asking me, Bimalji, that we have to file GSTR 3B, monthly consolidated 3B is a return, and we have to file GSTR 1, which is outward supply return. Now, GSTR 1 quarterly for such taxpayer whose aggregate turnover is up to 1.5 crore, otherwise monthly, and GSTR 3B goes monthly except composition dealer. So let's listen for the normal taxpayer, those who are not composition dealer. Now we have to file GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B. First, you focus on GSTR 3B. In GSTR 3B, you may just, may note down. It will help you, really help you. On left-hand side, you can note down they have created 3 categories. What are those 3 categories? First category, taxpayer having aggregate turnover more than 5 crore in a preceding financial year, the first category. Second category, taxpayer having aggregate turnover more than 1.5 crore but less than 5 crore in a preceding financial year, second category. Third category, aggregate turnover, the taxpayer who is having aggregate turnover less than 1.5 crore in a preceding financial year. So I've created all 3 categories. So you have written down on the left hand side. Now come to the second side. What these notification 31, 32 says and 33 says, 31, 32, 33 says. Listen very carefully. What it says, Bimal, for first category, taxpayer whose aggregate turnover is more than 5 crore in a preceding financial year, if he has to file GSTR 3B for the month of February, March and April, February, March and April, What they say, Bimal, they can file these 3B for these 3 months on or before 24th June 2020. 24th June 2020. If they file by 24 June, then no late fees. Complete waiver of late fees. Complete waiver. Then you'd be asking, sir, interest? Whether interest is leviable. Listen very carefully. That's the reason I'm going one by one, and you must note down, digest, make a note by yourself. For interest, this notification says, Bimal, for this category, the aggregate turnover is more than 5 crore. They say interest would be nil for 15 days, 1 5, to be calculated from due date. So let's take an example. If I'm talking about March 2020 GSTR 3B, then due date for filing 3B is normally 20th April. 20th April. Now they're saying, Bimal, 20th April plus 15 days, no interest. You make payment, no interest. But beyond that, thereafter, so in case you're making payment after 5th May, 20th April plus 15 days, if you're making payment after 5th May, then there will be interest, but at reduced rate. At reduced rate, 9% per annum, as against, what is the normal rate? 18% per annum. So as against 18%, there will be reduced rate of 9% per annum, and to be calculated on daily basis, not on full month basis. On daily basis, you have to calculate. So can I take your exam? Exam age. Let's say I'm talking about March 2020. If I'm filing return on 10th May, first question, whether interest leviable? Answer is yes. At reduced rate, 9% per annum, only for 5 days. Only for 5 days, that to be calculated after that 15 days elapsed. Due date plus 15 days elapsed, then only for 5 days. Whether there would be any late fees? No late fees. If I take this example further, if you file your 3B of March on 24th June, what happened? No late fees, interest to be calculated only from 5th May onwards till 24th at 9% per annum, calculated on daily basis. Go further, if you are filing on 29th June, possible. If you are filing March 3B on 29 June, then what happened? Is there any benefit of interest, reduced rate, which I talked about? No benefit. You have to pay full 18% per annum, and due date 20th April to 29 June. Is there any waiver of late fees? No. You have to pay the late fees also. So this you have to keep to your mind, not only for your mind, to intimating your client. Sometimes we get challenged pan-India. How to present ourselves before our client? If you digest the provision, then you can make presentation before your client. Tell them, boss, this is what the provision all about. So first category was taxpayer whose aggregate turnover was more than 5 crore in a preceding financial year. Now next category, taxpayer whose aggregate turnover is more than 1.5 crore but less than 5 crore. Am I clear? More than 1.5, less than 5. So what is being said? These notifications are saying, which I say 31, 32. In case you are doing extensive GST, you can check all these notifications. It says, Bimal, if they file their 3B for February and March, February and March by 29th June. 29th June, then no late fees and no interest. No interest. Here, nothing like to be calculated 15 days. No interest. Full benefit. If they file their April 3B by 30th June, then nil interest and no late fees. Nil interest and no late fees. So this is for the category second, more than 1.5, less than 5. Now we are at the last category. Last category whose aggregate turnover is less than 1.5 crore. 1.5 crore in a preceding financial year. What is the provision says? Listen here. They say February 3B must be filed by 30th June. February 3B must be filed by 30th June. March 3B must be filed by 3rd July. 3rd July. And April 3B must be filed by 6th July 2020. If this is the case, no interest, no late fees. So all three categories, I have said that for February, March and April, when to file and avail the benefit, then it must be coming to your mind, what happened for my May? Because I talked about February, March and April. I didn't say about May. So for May, there's a separate notification, 36/2020. And for May, what they say, if you are a taxpayer whose aggregate turnover is more than 5 crore in a preceding financial year, then for May, you must file your 3B by 27th June. 27th June. And if you're a category less than 5 crore, then it is staggered into two different dates, 12 July or 14 July, depending on the specified state. So you may check that notification, your state falling either under 12 July or 14 July. You have to look at the notification number 36/2020. This was pertaining to GSTR 3B. Now coming on GSTR 1. GSTR 1. I hope you are all digesting provision with me. I'm trying to make as simple as it is. So for GSTR 1, we don't make any payment. It is only late fees levied if filed beyond the due date. So notification number 33 now. 33/2020 says, Bimal, no late fees for the month of March, April, May. March, April, May, or the person who is filing quarterly GSTR 1, quarter ending March, they must file GSTR 1 by 30th June. 30th June. 30th June. If you file by 30th June, no late fee is going to be levied. So I've said for 3B and GSTR 1. Now I'm doing one technical thing. Now you should listen to me very carefully, because in this webcast, I wanted to make it more simple for all of you, but one technical thing. And this technical thing I would like to draw, this government does not understand provision. They make the law, but they complicate the same. Listen very carefully. Just while ago I said GSTR 1 for March, April, May to be filed by 30th June. 30th June, no late fees. And 3B. So if you take one example, it would be clear to you. For any taxpayer whose aggregate turnover is more than 5 crore in a preceding financial year, just while ago I said that for such category, March 3B, of which due date is 20th April, relaxation of 15 days for interest calculation and no late fees provided, filed on 24th June, just while ago I said. And for the same taxpayer, GSTR1 last date is 30th June. Now, someone should ask this government. First, I finalize my GSTR1. I don't finalize GSTR 3B. Whereas they are asking me, Bimal, you file 3B on 24 June before finalizing GSTR1. Contradictory. I normally as a taxpayer finalize my GSTR1 at first and then file my 3B, but here dates are going contradictory to each other. You file 3B, pay taxes 3B on 24 June, but file 3B on 30th June. I do not know. And this is what the irony of these government officials, and this is what the problem with the government officials, that they issue notification and clarification, but someone at bureaucracy level must understand that these provisions need to be it should go with the theme that first we finalize GSTR1 and then we finalize GSTR3B. We do not do in reverse direction. Okay, this was one part. Now coming, you may be non-resident taxable person or ISD distributor or TDS deductor or tax collection at source. Then you know you need to file a GSTR 5 for non-resident taxable person, GSTR 6 for ISD registration, GSTR 7 for TDS deductor, GSTR 8 for tax collection at source. There's one notification, and this notification is being issued number 35/2020. 35/2020. Very interesting notification. You will get lot of tax relief which you can see under this notification. What it says, Bimal, time limit for filing these return 5, 6, 7, 8 expiring in a period starting from 20th March to 29th June. So expiring in this time period, 20th March to 29th June 2020, then due date is extended to 30th June 2020. 30th June 2020. So all these ISD, TDS deductor, tax collection at source are getting relieved. I'm getting one query from the trade. Sir, I'm a TDS deductor. Okay, you said my TDS return GSTR 7 to be filed by 30th June. Do I require to make payment on 30th June with no interest and with no late fees? My answer is no interest, no late fees, pay on 30th June. Pay on 30th June. Coming to the second aspect of this 35/2020. If your eBay bill, which got generated from 20th March to 15th April, 20th March to 15th April, and expiring, then due date is extended to 30th April 2020. Now coming silver lining provision, a broader provision. This you must pay attention, and this is very important. The same notification 35/2020 says, 35/2020 says, Bimal, for compliance of GST law or any rules made thereunder, for any compliance of GST law or any rules made thereunder, expiring in this time period, 20th March 2020 to 29 June 2020, then due date extended would be 30th June 2020, 30 June 2020. So maybe you need to file your appeal. You need to file your refund application even for 2017-18, which is expiring on 31st March, falling in this time period, getting extended to 30th June. You need to file LUT for undertaking export without payment of taxes, date extended to 30th June 2020. So this is the blanket tax relief subject to. Now certain exceptions are being created. So what happened? Blanket tax relief benefit subject to. Now subject to is very critical, very, very critical. Now I'm doing 2-3 analysis here because this is there under section 35, under notification 35/2020. What they have excluded: time of supply, valuation, registration. If registration to be made within 30 days, application to be made within 30 days, no relief. We have to apply within 30 days. Raised invoice under section 31. If you have to raise invoice under section 31, you need to raise invoice as per the due date, which I will discuss under force majeure clause. Let me take here only so that you can understand. Listen very carefully. I say GSTR 3B and GSTR 1. Now date are being provided that by this date you must file. Can I say it is a due date extended? Can I say that? Due date extended. No due date extended. Please don't say so. It is not due date extension. It is only the relief from interest and late fees. No due date extension. Now, just try to visualize the situation. Just think, because you all are legal party, March. We all are talking about whether financial year 1920, whether can be extended to 30th June 2020. We all are debating, right? We all are expecting from the government of India that why can't we extend financial year 1920 to 30th June 2020? Without going into that debate, let's think it is completing on 31st March 2020. And you have a contract. Let's say I'm a supplier and you all are my customer. And as per contract, I must raise my invoice by 31st of that particular month. That is what mutual terms, contract clause says. Contract clause says, I need to raise my invoice by 31st or 30th of that month. So for March month, everything under lockdown, COVID-19, do I require to raise invoice? I know that one to be filed by 30th June. I know that 3B to be filed as per the category created either 24 June or 29 or 30th June or 30th June, 3rd or 6th July. So without getting into, I'm just saying, I know that I will file my GSTR 3B and GSTR 1 with the time period provided to me. Do I require to raise invoice as per the contract clause, which says either 30th or 31st of the month, and I'm talking about my invoice to be raised for March 2020. Question goes to all of you. As per this notification 35/2020, there's no relaxation. You need to raise invoice. You need to raise invoice. You can report such invoice in 1 and 3B and pay taxes as per the relief granted, but you need to raise invoice. But look at the bigger pie of this question. I was recently talking to Delhi government, and Delhi government wanted me to give suggestion. Bimalji, what we should do as a stimulus package to the industry. And they were asking specifically for SME and MSME. I know a lot of company secretary practicing, and they are small timer. Their turnover must be around 25 lakh, 30 lakh, 40 lakh, 50 lakh, small timer, SME and MSME. And we all know GST is on accrual basis, not on receipt basis. If you have raised the invoice, you pay the taxes from your own pocket. You need not wait to get it collected. You need not wait that your customer pays you. Maybe for this interim time period, government has said, Bimal, pay taxes as per 3B, the relief measure allowed to you. But what happened thereafter? We are thinking that this COVID-19 time period only lasting for these 2-3 months. There's a bigger question which I'm raising to all of you. First, what I said to the government, Delhi government, and I'm raising to the government of India as well, maybe we can get relief on those parameters. Let me sound it now to all the members. I said, sir, for SME and MSME, for 6-month time period, you must change GST payment scenario from accrual to receipt basis. Accrual to receipt basis. Why I'm saying it will benefit to all of us together. During COVID-19, you know much better than me that business operation has come at halt. We are doing webcast, but virtually business operation has come at halt. If time of supply provision, time to raise invoice under section 31 is not relaxed, meaning thereby I need to raise invoice. Only for these 2-3 months date provided, I get relief, but thereafter I need to pay, which I have not yet collected. And wherefore I will get the money? I'm a SME and MSME. I'm struggling with my own finance. I'm struggling with the capital. I'm SME. This is the first suggestion I given. Second suggestion what I gave. Honorable Prime Minister is saying that we must pay salary to the employee, to our employee of the firm. We should not do retrenchment. We are all respecting and honoring the word of our Honorable Prime Minister. But being SME and MSME, I got my own capacity, my fund capacity. I cannot, beyond a time period, I will not be able to afford it. What should I do? What suggestion I given? Let me share with all of you. I given a suggestion that SME and MSME must be given a loan at 0% interest. Must be given a loan at 0% interest to meet all this crisis financial situation and help each other during this COVID-19 time period. So what I'm saying, force majeure, that this was the important one. There may be lot many company secretary at PSU level, big, large PSU level. Force majeure is one of the legal abbreviation used, and this is beyond my control. Can I extend my date, due date for raising invoice, which was there at the 30th or 31st March? To my mind, as per Indian Contract Act, I can very well, with due discussion with my client, can extend the date for raising the invoice. So maybe as a tax planning measure, my request to all of you, revisit such contract wherein you got condition, time period stipulated for raising invoice can be extended on mutual agreement by both the parties. Thereby, you are helping yourself that payment of tax is being deferred on the raising of invoice, which is mutually accepted and agreed by both the parties. So I'm giving this food for thought to both of supplier, and recipient so that they can help themselves in this regard. So this was my first major provision. Now coming to the last component of recent changes. For the composition dealer, you know composition dealer under section 10, or composition dealer for supplier of service, those who pay at 6% GST, registered by notification number 2/2019, 2/2019. For them, what are the relaxation provided? First, opting for composition dealer for financial year 2020-21. We normally need to file CMP 02. Now due date for opting composition dealer by CMP 02 is now 30th June 2020. Now, when you opt from normal to composition, you need to reverse credit pertaining to input service, capital goods, ITC 03 need to be filed. Now this due date is extended to 31st July 2020 for ITC 03. Now composition dealer pays self-assessment tax by CMP 08, right? CMP 08, and this is for the quarter ending March 2020. Now due date would be 7th July 2020. And now composition dealer file GSTR 4, which is annual affairs. So financial year 2019-20, due date for filing GSTR 4 is 15th July 2020. So I'm through with the recent changes. Now let me take one or two more open issues. And these are the open issues, very much interesting. And here I want to invite you. So I will take two open issues. Then I will start taking your question answers. Again, I will move to the last topic of the day and then take the balanced question answer. That is what we have planned. So we are almost at 1 hour end. We are left out with 1 more hour. Let's use fruitfully this 1 hour for the best for our utilization. The second point, for availing credit. Now, let me start with one practical case study so that you can understand, and then we can also give answer from our side. I would be requesting you guys to answer it as well. Let's say a particular taxpayer who was supposed to avail credit in GST 6,25,000 in respective accounts, CGST and SGST. He was supposed to avail credit of 6,25,000 in respective accounts, CGST and SGST. I do not know how many of you really file GSTR 3B of your firm or your company, but those who regularly file, they know the challenges which they see on the last date. Whenever they are filing 3B on last date, they struggle to file for lot many regions that server is highly occupied, down, not working. So what happened for this taxpayer who was supposed to avail credit 6,25,000 in respective accounts, CGST and SGST? He was filing his 3B and putting 0 for putting the number 6,25,000. But that 0 was not visible, so he was putting 0 after 0. So by the time he could submit and file 3B, it becomes 6 crore 25 lakh in respective accounts, CGST and SGST, whereas it should have been 6,25,000. So you have availed wrongly availed the credit. Now my question goes to all of you. To all of you, please tell me, this excess credit which was wrongly availed, you availed 6 crore 25 lakh in respective head as against 6 lakh 25,000. Do you require to reverse? First question. I'm sure you would be answering in yes. We have to reverse because that is not my credit. But can you reverse in that particular month 3B? No, because you can't revise your 3B. You would be reversing this credit in succeeding month GSTR 3B. So to this point, we have concluded. Now the $1,000,000 question. The $1,000,000 question is, do we require to pay interest for this excess credit availed? For this excess credit availed, 6 crore 25 lakh as against 6 lakh 25,000. When I'm reversing in succeeding month, do I require to pay interest? So I'm looking from all of you that please try to answer by yourself. Do we require to pay interest for this wrong availment of credit? So please try to answer it. And a CFO of a big PSU came up to me and posted this query, and we have given as a legal opinion, which I'm going to share with all of you today. You try and give me the answer that this reversal of wrongful availment of credit warrants interest. Now, let me answer to all of you. I've given an opinion, and before I say this opinion to you, let me take one example and connect my answer with that so that you can answer by yourself. I want you should answer to it. In case you have given right answer, I am going to share with you just wait for a moment. But let me give you one example. You will be answering by yourself. Let's assume you have to pay 1,000 rupees GST liability. 1,000 rupees GST liability, which you can pay either e-cash ledger or through e-credit ledger. Let's assume you got 500 rupees lying in your e-credit ledger, which includes 100 rupees wrongful availment of credit. This credit, assume like this 6 lakh 25,000 converted into 6 crore 25 lakh, which was clerical error. You got that 100 rupees included in total 500 rupees lying in your e-credit ledger. Now this fellow who got 1,000 rupees liability, he's paying 900 rupees from e-cash ledger. 900 rupees from e-cash ledger. He has to pay 100 rupees now from e-credit. So he's paying 100 rupees from e-credit ledger. Now he has discharged the liability. Question goes to all of you. Can it be alleged? Can department make allegation that this taxpayer has used that 100 rupees which was wrongful availment? I'm asking you. Because being a taxpayer, I can counter. I can say, no, I have not used that 100 rupees. Because I was having balance 400. I have paid the liability from my 400 rupees, which was my rightful availment. Hence, this 100 rupees, which was wrongful availment, I have not utilized. And if succeeding month, I reverse this 100 rupees without utilization, do I require to pay interest? That is the question I've raised. To answer to all of you, if you read section 50 subsection 1 or read along with section 73 subsection 1, and Patna High Court has also decided in the case of commercial steel what is being decided if credit result into reduction in output tax, which is called utilization. If credit result into reduction in output tax, which is called utilization, then only interest can be levied. In my case, I have reverse credit suo motu without utilization, no interest going to be levied. This was my third open issue. Now coming to the fourth and fifth, two more, then question answer session. Then I will take the concluding part, balanced part of my deliberation. In the meanwhile, you all are invited. Till the time I'm doing two more open issues case study, you all are invited to post your queries, whatever you got in your mind. ICSI team is sitting back end. They are sorting out your queries, and those queries are being articulated, the generally asked question, and I'm going to answer such queries. These questions are going to be posted to me. So rest assured, we are here today from GST perspective to respond, to give reply to all of you. So let me take two more case study and then I will move to question answer session. Next. And again, let me start with the practical example. Let's say I got 1 crore rupees liability, 1 crore rupees liability, GST liability. And I got 80 lakh rupees lying in my e-credit ledger, So I need to pay only 20 lakh rupees, which I could not pay for the simple reason I was not having enough cash. Working capital was not there, and GST liability is on accrual basis as per GST law. I could not deposit this 20 lakh for want of cash, for want of working capital. After 6 months, I could pay the taxes, 20 lakh, could file my GSTR 3B. Now, question comes, this 20 lakh I paid after 6 months. Interest which is supposed to be charged on my delayed payment, it's going to be levied on gross tax liability 1 crore or net tax liability 20 lakh rupees. This is the open issue as on date. I'm asking each one of you. Maybe you can answer in your comment box, chat box. So whether it is applicable on 1 crore or 20 lakh. Let me give you the background so that you can also, it will help you to frame your answer. This case has gone to Telangana High Court in the mega engineering case, and Telangana High Court has said, Bimal, interest to be levied on gross tax liability 1 crore, because that was the provision under section 50 subsection 1. We have gone to GST Council. We have said to GST Council, sir, all the taxation laws we have seen interests are generally and normally levied on net tax liability, not on gross tax liability. GST Council has agreed and principally recommended in the 31st GST Council meeting held on 22nd December 2018 that interest to be charged on net tax liability. Now what happened? By CGST Amendment Act 2018, a provision got inserted under section 50 subsection 1. Under section 50 subsection 1. And provision says interest to be charged on net tax liability unless no proceedings are initiated under section 73, non-fraud cases, under Section 74 fraud cases. But you must be knowing, if you're doing GST practice pan-India, I'm dead sure you must be knowing department has issued later communication pan-India to the mass taxpayer. And what department is saying, Bimal, interest to be charged on gross tax liability 1 crore. There's a CBIC tweet, which you would be knowing, CBIC tweet. It says on gross tax 1 crore. Even interdepartmental letter issued by senior government official, they say it is on gross tax liability. He even continues to say, Bimal, even interest can be recovered without issuance of so-called notice under Section 73 and 74. In between, we got one division bench Madras High Court judgment, reflects industries. And this High Court has relied this proviso, which got inserted under Section 50, subsection 1, which talks about interest to be on net tax liability, 20 lakh rupees. But let me ask, because I do not know how many of you really are aware of with this proviso, that is the reason I kept this as an open issue. Let me ask each one of you. Logically, I know all of you would be saying and sounding it should be charged on net tax liability, 20 lakh rupees. Logically, I'm aware of. Logically, there is no dispute in my mind. But say from law perspective, 20 lakh or 1 crore. 20 lakh is the net tax, 1 crore is the gross tax. If you look at this proviso which got inserted, to your surprise, and which is relied by this Madras High Court division bench, this proviso is yet to be notified. Yet to be notified. This is not in existence as on date. The proviso which got inserted at the instance of GST Council on 22nd December 2018 is yet to be notified. That's the reason I said open issues. And look at the irony of this country. The something which got recommended on 22nd December 2018, for that again GST Council, 39 GST Council meeting held on 14th March 2020. Again they decided and recommended it should be on net tax liability and to be applicable retrospectively, laudable one. Retrospectively means effective from 1st July 2020. But that proviso as on date not effective. Retrospective provision need to be inserted and made applicable. So this is the open issue. So maybe you are having two queries pertaining to this. Let me take these queries which I am assuming myself, which you would be asking. If at all you have to pay interest, which you would be asking, we should pay on net tax or gross tax? My answer is pay on net tax. Don't pay on gross tax. Next question. If you have paid on gross tax 1 crore, which is otherwise to be on 20 lakh, go for refund. Once this proviso getting notified retrospectively from 1st July 2017, you should go for refund of difference of interest paid on gross tax versus net tax. This would be my answer to you. So this was on interest, but why I'm saying open, that GST Council will decide something long time back on 22nd December 2018. Why they are pausing themselves, not taking call and not making it effective? Where are the hurdles? I do not understand. Coming to the next open issue, and this is very interesting. I have been posted a query for that as well. Let me club this query also, and this is the very interesting rule. Rule 36 sub rule 4 of CGST rule 2017. I know that you guys are more of legal and secretarial. You're doing GST, I'm relying on that. So I'm trying to make it with the practical example. I'm trying from my side to really pass on my best of the knowledge in a lucid manner. I only need your favor that even though if you're not doing GST, but maybe for the time being you can deploy yourself and listen these GST aspects, which I said in the beginning that any supply chain or GDP, GST is the integral part. If you don't have fair amount of GST knowledge, you're not justifying your profiling, your excellency and capability, which must be there. And being company secretary, we are soldiering, holding responsibility. And ICSI is also pitching for GST audit. We all are looking for GST audit. Why this audit assignment is given only to a chartered accountant or cost accountant? Why not to a company secretary? If we have to answer this why, then answer lies within us, that unless we get ourselves prepared, unless we get ourselves interested, how to create interest, how we can really build ourselves into GST, for which we want GST audit as an assignment. Definitely we have to start thinking, we have to start putting ourselves sometime interest, because you are asking such questions, sir, I really want to develop my interest, but interest is not coming. Where from I should start? Let me tell you, those who are following me and those who are not following me. On my YouTube channel recently I posted 2 videos what you should do during this COVID-19 time period, how to utilize your time during COVID-19, how to create interest in GST. I have recorded 2 videos and it is available on my YouTube channel. You can at least watch those videos, are very small time, 8-9 minutes. You can watch those videos and I've given some platter how you can create interest within yourself for GST learning. And as ICSI, as a proud CS member, it is utmost that we must get hands-on on GST to make our representation that we are competent. We can take GST audit if it is being allowed by Government of India, for which we all are trying. All the council members are pitching for and trying for. They're doing their best. It is now our turn to make and prepare ourselves. So last open issue, which I'm going to discuss with all of you, which is Rule 36, Sub-Rule 4. Hope you'd be listening carefully to me. And here I'm going to ask number of questions to you. Maybe 3-4 questions I thought of only on this particular open issue. So you have to help me out, walk the talk. I will first explain and then tell you. Rule 36, Sub-Rule 4 is very interesting. What is this? Listen. Let's say I'm a taxpayer and I'm a registered GST person. If I look at my books of accounts, there is 15 lakh rupees credit coming in my books of account. 15 lakh. 15 lakh rupees credit coming in my books of accounts. But when I see my GSTR 2A, and what is this 2A? 2A is generated with the GSTR 1 filed by my supplier or vendor. So my vendor or supplier uploading the invoice or debit note in GSTR 1 gets auto-populated for the recipient. I'm a recipient, assume recipient, customer in my 2A. There's only value of 10 lakh rupees. So book 15 lakh rupees credit. But 2A, it is only 10 lakh rupees. Only 10 lakh. So there's a mismatch of 5 lakh rupees. Mismatch of 5 lakh rupees. Now question come, Bimal Jain being recipient, being customer, can I take credit of full 15 lakh? Whereas only 10 lakh coming in my 2A? You may cite a reason that, sir, where is recipient fault? Is a supplier who has not uploaded his invoice in GSTR1. You may sound it. You may sound it. There's a 5 lakh rupees difference, which I'm legally entitled for the reason I got tax invoice with me. I received goods and services also. I paid the taxes to my supplier, and being recipient, I filed my return also. But these 5 lakhs are not reflected in my 2A. So this was a moot question. Question again I'm throwing to all of you. Can I take 15 lakh rupees credit as against 10 lakh coming in my 2A? Now, if I'm posting this question, then this rule 36 sub rule 4 is becoming very, very important. And here you have to apply this rule 36 sub rule 4. This rule has come and made effective from 9th of October 2019. So it's a prospective one to my mind. By notification number 49/2019. Now what this rule says, Bimal, pertaining to this 5 lakh rupees invoice and debit note not uploaded by supplier in their GSTR1, which is not reflected in your 2A, your credit would be capped. Your credit would be capped. It was initially 20% from 9th October 2019, later on reduced to 10% from 1st January 2020. So let's assume we have to give the answer on 1st January 2020. It reduced to 10% of eligible credit coming in my 2A. Eligible credit coming in my 2A. So what rule 36 sub rule 4 says, Bimal, pertaining to 5 lakh, you would be given credit to the extent of 10% of eligible credit coming in my 2A. So in 2A it is coming how much? 10 lakh. So how much would be given? 10% of 10 lakh, which is 1 lakh, pertaining to my 5 lakh, which is not uploaded. So my 4 lakh rupees credit kept in abeyance. Kept in abeyance. Now, to go a step further, says eligible credit. Eligible credit. Am I right? Let me take this example and take your test also. Let's say my 2A has got 10 lakh rupees, right? 10 lakh rupees. But let's assume this 10 lakh is having 2 lakh rupees ineligible credit, block credit, negative list, 17 subsection 5. 10 lakh includes 2 lakh, which is ineligible. So as per this rule, they say 10% of eligible credit. Hence, 10 lakh coming in 2A to be reduced by 2 lakh. So 8 lakh become eligible. 10% of 8 lakh would be 80,000 rupees credit to be allowed pertaining to my 5 lakh, which is not uploaded by my supplier and vendor in their GSTR1. Let me clarify 2-3 issues in this particular open issue, and then I will conclude. For capping of this 10%, what you should not consider. what you should not consider. Import of goods, you pay IGST, don't consider. ISD, don't consider. Transitional credit, don't consider. Reverse charge method, don't consider. Or credit which is availed but reversed and then again avail, that is a 6 months criteria. Such credit you should not consider for capping purpose. Second, they say calculation to be made on GSTR2A, then question comes, GSTR2A of which date? When to be downloaded? The one circular 123 dated 11th November 2019 got issued, and this circular says, being recipient, I must download my GSTR2A of 11th of next month. 11th of next month. So there would be mismatch of what? If my vendor filing GSTR1 on 12th, it will not be reflected on 11th of that particular tax period. What happened for quarterly filer? Quarterly filer filing GSTR1 for October to December by 31st January. So it will not be reflected in a monthly 2A generated. There will be mismatch of working capital. It is also being stated that whether to be done, calculation to be done on invoice wise, supplier wise, consolidated. Circulars say consolidated, but I'm of the view it is invoice wise. Can't be. I can explain that subject matter. And last and foremost, I can say this rule is contrary, ultra vires the law. 41, 42, 43A of CGST Act 2017. Believe me, 43A subsection 4, which talks about furnishing of return and availing credit with the capping. This provision is yet to be made effective. It was supposed to be from 1st April 2020, but now postponed to 1st October 2020 because of new return system. So when this act provision is not applicable, how come a rule can be made which is contradicting my own right, vested right to avail credit? If at all to be done, then this to be done with a defaulting supplier. Why by way of rule? Something is being restricted for which provision of the act is not yet effective now. So I'm saying this rule 36 sub rule 4 is contradicting, ultra vires. That is what my answer pertaining to rule 36 sub rule 4. So I'm almost at 1:30, 1 hour 30 minutes over. Now it's better we can start with a question answer session, but in this question answer, some of the participants would be thinking, no, this question I'm not related. There is nothing from my side. Why should I wait? And why should I listen to that? Let me tell you, sometimes questions are not relevant to you, but these questions may help you sometime in future. If you come across with similar kind of questions, within 1 hour 30 minutes, I have made it in a way that you get recent changes, you get open issues. Now I'm discussing open questions and answering. At the end, I'm also going to tell you my connect, how you can connect with Bimal Jain over phone, over mail, over Facebook, over Twitter, to start your interest for GST. I really want that we all are pitching for GST audit. For our preparation, this COVID-19 time period is a blessing in disguise. We can prepare ourselves, we can help each other, we can really build ourselves during this time period. So maybe at the end I will share my number so that you can come back to me if you're having any query on GST, but at the end you have to wait and listen those questions which is going to be posted by my colleague sitting on other dais, and he's going to post a query and I'm going to answer those queries. So over to you, Mr. Subramaniam.
Thank you. Thanks for a very beautiful presentation, sir. Sir, I have some interesting questions from both from members and students. Uh, there are some questions, some basic questions which I'm skipping. I have some questions relating to lockdown. First, I'll put it to you, sir. The first question is: goods are not delivered to the recipient because of lockdown. How can we claim the ITC on the purchases?
For availing credit, there are four conditions. For availing credit, there are four conditions. You must have tax invoice, which you are having. You must have received goods or services. It's a condition. You must have received goods or services. Third, your supplier must have paid taxes. Your supplier must have paid taxes. And fourth, being recipient, you must have filed a return. Now, in case you have not received the goods, in case you have not received the goods, then you are violating one of the condition of section 16 subsection 2. Then question comes, without receipt of goods of which I have received the invoice, can I avail credit? This is your question. So I'm helping you guys at length. That if you look at the provision, relaxation provision, which is given by 35/2020 as a compliance time limit expiring. Time limit expiring provision is not applicable if you're talking about this time period. Let's say April, you're supposed to receive the goods which you haven't received. You would be receiving at a future date. Can you avail credit now? This is the only question without receipt of goods. My answer to you, that room, some voice is coming from the background. I need some voices coming from the background. Yeah. My answer to you would be, still background noise is there. Yeah. My answer to you, that for rule 36 sub rule 4, where it is creating capping provision, it was different and this part is different. Unless you receive the goods, sorry, voice. To my view, unless you receive the goods, credit is not available. Credit is not available. But if it is coming in your two-way, can you take provisional credit? In that basis, you can avail the provisional credit. But I will guide you, don't utilize this credit till the time goods are being received. If coming in a two-way, take credit, keep it provisional till the time goods are being received. One more point which I should have said in Rule 36 sub Rule 4, the condition of Rule 36 sub Rule 4, adherence of the condition of Rule 36 sub Rule 4 is now being deferred for the month February, March, April, May, June, July and August. So from February to August, you can done away, no adherence of the condition. It needs to be now adhered cumulatively, the cumulative effect now to be given in the month of September 2020 GSTR 3B. So my specific answer, though one of the condition that the credit available on goods received, but it's coming in your two-way, avail credit, but don't utilize this credit till the time you receive the goods. This is my answer.
Sir, I have my next question. Government has extended the validity of the e-way bill, whose expiry date fall between 20th March to 15th April till 30th April. Now I want to create the e-way bill today. Now what about its validity?
See, when you talk about validity as of now, if it is not falling in period of 20th March to 15th April, then it is the normal provision. For validity to be extended, you have to go back and before that time period of specified time period expires, you have to get it extended. This is what the provision. There's nothing like exceptional provision. But I could see another query. What happened? Whether there would be blockage of eBay bill if I have not filed my consecutive 2 months return. This is what the query I saw. That now you know that your GSTR 3B for the month of February, March, and April. Date is now sometime in June. So it is not being filed on consecutive basis for 2 months. Whether my eBay bill getting blocked. And if you go to that notification number 35/2020, they have excluded section 68 also. So the benefit is not available. But here you are not filing return. This is not the case. See, due date is not extended. That is what the contradictory version is coming out. The due date is not extended for 3B and 1. It is only relaxation for interest and waiver of late fees. If consecutively 2 months, if these are not being filed, and which is excluded from the tax relief measure of 35/2020 notification, it is creating problem and eye opener. We have taken up this matter with the government authority, and I'm being told maybe a clarification will be issued at the earliest that for this COVID-19 time period, this will not be considered as non-filing. Maybe relaxation would be provided for these impugned time period. So you have to wait and watch. I'm of the view government is going to relax this time period of COVID-19 for not blocking your eBay bill.
Sir, my next question is, can we take ITC of insurance for employees like Mediclaim policy and workman compensation policy?
See, if you talk about this claiming of credit on Mediclaim and workman policies, under section 17, subsection 5, which is called block credit, negative list, credit is not available, even though in the course of furtherance of business. When as a company I take Mediclaim policy for my employee concerned, it is in the course of furtherance of my business. But with a specific blockage, bar. But now this provision got amended from 1st February 2019. If it is obligatory on employer to take such policies, then credit is available. And secondly, I am of the view this is not for the personal consumption. This is not for the personal consumption. I will continue to argue, even though it is not obligatory, but in the course of furtherance of business, because without employee is in a good health, I cannot really grow my business. It is always in the course of furtherance of business. I'm of the view credit would be available. Yes, please.
Sir, my next question is, can you speak about this e-wallet scheme in GST? Some basic points.
The e-wallet is a concept which was discussed at least a year before. What is the e-wallet concept is, if I'm an exporter, then I'm being given certain duty credit benefit. These duty credit benefit is available to me, which I can use for discharging my GST payment on import. You must have seen advance authorization. You must have seen EPCG. You must have seen EOU. And even when you're exporter and you're exporting goods or services on IGST, or you're exporting without payment of taxes but get refund of ITC, then government has envisaged initially that there would be e-wallet scheme. E-wallet scheme means whatever credit benefit which are accruing to you or you are allowed to get refund would be credited to this e-wallet, which you can utilize for discharging your GST liability, and it will work like your current account. Fund is there, utilize the same for payment. In case you do not want, take the refund, but working like a real-time current account. It was supposed to be implemented, but not yet coming into the picture. Now this e-wallet concept, they have postponed to April 2021. 1st April 2021. So modus operandi of this e-wallet yet to be made public. Commensurating benefit, how to be given to the exporter, made to be made public. Now, how this scheme e-wallet would be working at a real-time basis is yet to be known. But now, since it is being postponed to April 1, 2021, let's wait and watch. It is mainly meant for exporter of goods or services.
Sir, I have some another two or three questions. Then you can deliberate on more topics. Uh,
What we can do, Mr. Sorry.
yeah, yeah.
What we
Go
can do, we have reached to 4:45 now.
Yes.
Maybe we can do the balance question answers. The benefit, those who have sent the questions, they are being benefited for answer from my side. So that would be much better, I believe, because then they would be benefited, their questions are being answered. And then maybe
Okay.
you can give me 5 minutes to close my session. 5 minutes I
Fine,
need.
sir. Fine,
Yeah.
sir. Then fine. Then I can post some more questions.
Yes,
What is the
please.
applicability of GST on online teaching platforms using LMS, learning management systems?
See, this is again a supply of service. Now, e-platform is through a e-platform. Now, when you're providing services through a e-platform, your customers are being scattered pan-India. Your customers are scattered pan-India. Now, when your customers scattered pan-India, first, you should not have a doubt in your mind that depending on your customers scattered pan-India, you need to take registration. No. You need to take registration at place where from you're supplying services. First, you need to take registration at a place where from you're supplying services. So let's say I'm sitting at Delhi and I got LMS, and through my LMS, I'm giving these services pan-India, pan-world. You can say across the world. Do I require to go back and take registration at the recipient location? No, need not require. I need to take registration only in Delhi because I'm registered in Delhi. Now, question comes, and this question is relevant from that perspective only. Sir, I may have a Delhi customer also. I may have outside Delhi customer also. Please tell me if the outside Delhi customer or Delhi customer is treatment intrastate versus interstate. Intrastate thumb rule, location of supplier and place of supply within same state. Intrastate, CGST and SGST. Location of supplier and place of supplies in different state is IGST. Now there may be a transaction B2B and B2C. B2B or B2C. To my mind, for this particular services, place of supply would be location of recipient when you talk about B2B transaction. B2B transaction. Location of recipient. But for B2C transaction, if address exists in your books of accounts, then location of recipient, otherwise location of supplier. So to clarify, let's say if I'm billing to my customer who is registered B2B in Delhi, then the transaction would be intrastate, CGST, SGST. If my customer, let's say outside Delhi and registered IGST transaction, interstate transaction. And in that case, credit would be available in the hands of recipient. Only for unregistered, if address on record, then location of recipient. If address is not on record, then location of supplier. That would be my answer to the querist. Yes, please. Mr. Subramaniam.
My next question is it required to take GST registration for the registered office of the company where no business is carried out on, but it is only for the communication address? Suppose I'm having a factory and the full functional is happening only in factory premises, but for a namesake, I'm having a registered office. Whether it is required to register the registered office also under GST?
Need not required. Not required except if at a head office location you are getting common input service invoices. Common input service invoices like advertisement, like royalty. Not many things invoices comes at your location. From at your location, you are not providing any services or not manufacturing goods, not supplying goods, no registration. But in case you are getting a lot of inward services at your location, and those are being charged by vendor with GST, unless you take ISD registration of that HO, you will not be able to distribute that GST to your taxable unit either within that same state or outside the state. So it's your business call. If your HO is not getting any invoice, not providing any services, there is no much of inward supply of services invoice you are getting at your location. There is no loss of credit. All the inward supply invoices are going to a respective taxable unit wherever it exists. HO is only looking after for the operational set, and there's nothing much, as I said, then no need of registration from my perspective.
My next question is, what to do if someone received notice that your purchase is from a non-genuine taxpayer, even though he have GST or 2A credit invoices, e-way bills and bank receipts?
I
Which is
really responded when I was discussing Rule 36 sub Rule 4. It is coming in your 2A, but you say that such invoices you are having, you have made the payment, you got e-way bill, but not coming in your 2A. So two
yes.
situation. If it is coming in 2A, no challenge. But if it is not coming in 2A, then challenge. Then Rule 36 sub Rule 4 will come into the picture, and they create capping for availing credit of that particular credit for which invoice and debit note not uploaded by the supplier and vendor. So Rule 36 sub Rule 4 will come into the picture for capping of such credit which is not reflected in my GSTR 2A.
Okay. My next question is, a taxpayer has cancelled his GST number in financial year 2017-18, but now he wants to start his business again and wants the same GST number. Can he do that?
It's to my mind, once it got cancelled, then it's not a choice on me that like we open our bank account and we go to a bank with the choice that, okay, give me the same bank account number. It's all automated on GST and network. Once new number generated, it comes with different alphanumeric combination. To my mind, the same number you might not get, which already got cancelled, because then it becomes two entity. And with the time gap existing, to my mind, you will not get the same number.
But how long generally it will take, sir? Because when we are not filing the return for the consecutive 3 months time, now the department is cancelling the GST number. How long it will take again to take a GST number? Suppose if the default is getting discontinued and the company want to do a business again.
See, for doing business, if cancellation process is being initiated, since you have not filed your return under section 29 subsection 2, and it is being initiated by the proper officer for non-filing of return consecutive for the specified time period. Now it is initiated and you are in a position to demonstrate that no, it was for certain region you could not submit. You can represent even the one recent decision taken by GST Council in 39 GST Council meeting that even you can move an application for revocation of cancellation, and where this cancellation happened till 14th March 2020, they can move their application for revocation by 30th June 2020. So there are two questions. One, if cancellation is in a process or got cancelled, you want to go for revocation, move an application. This is being recommended by GST Council very recently in 39 GST Council meeting. And second, if it already got cancelled or when it is in a process of cancellation, you can go and present your case to the authority. Sir, I do not want to have cancellation. I want to continue my business. Tell me whatever fault I have done, I am ready to make it good. In case it is officially got cancelled, then go for immediate registration as required for the normal registration provision. That is my answer.
Sir, can you throw some light on GST registration formalities for non-profit organization like trust, AOP? What will be the legal requirement?
See, now the definition of person in GST is too wide. Even association of persons, even we are talking about body of individuals. Now the need of business, maybe it can be debated from this point perspective that these are non-profit organizations. They are not doing anything for the profit. They are trust, NGO. They are not doing for any profit making. But please appreciate, in GST, the definition of business is too wide. Even something is being done which, whether or not there is pecuniary benefit or not. This is a term used in the business definition. So when you assume business with the profit making, then you would be misguided. GST provision goes to a level where business can be termed even though there is no pecuniary benefit. And being NGO, trust and everything, when you say it is exclusively for exempted supplies. Now those NGO, those trust, those AOP has to go back and check, are they exclusively for exempted? If they are exclusively for exempted, then there is a notification. You need not require to have registration under section 23. You need not require to have registration. But if you got even a pinch of reverse charge liability, pinch of business related transaction, then you need to get compulsory registration done. This is my answer.
And my last question, is ITC available against the minimum balance fine charged by the bank, and that's reflecting in GSTR 2A?
Take the credit, because I know we are not getting such invoices from the bank. So take the credit, that is my advice. That's not a big worry, because at the year end, consolidated invoice can be demanded, or quarterly basis, consolidated invoice can be demanded from such banker or NBFC.
Thank you, sir. You can have your closing remarks.
Okay, now coming to the last part, viewers, we are almost 2 hours and I'm being tested for 2 hours extempore with no PowerPoint presentation. And in between, we have taken question also from sent by learned members and student. The student, as I said, they are future company secretary, FCS members are always learned. ICSI has taken this initiative to do this webinar on GST, and I'm also trying my best that I should do something good during this COVID-19 time period. First, at the outset, I'm thanking to each of the members, those who are the part of this webinar today, all the student members, learned members, thanking President and Managing MC members, Central Council members, Regional Council members all over India. Now I'm giving one food for thought. This voice is coming. I don't know, background voice is coming. Yeah, yeah. Friends, I'm sharing my number with all of you. First of all, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Facebook, Twitter to be in touch. To get all updated information on GST, believe me, without cost, no charges. I'm not here for doing anything commercial. I'm sharing my number just to create interest those who are willing to. You can give your feedback and suggestion as well. In case you have loved this presentation today, write your sweet word appreciation. In case you want your suggestion, write back to me. In case you've got query, write back to me. And let's prepare. And we must try out our best, helping hand to each other. And during COVID-19, I will definitely try from my side to respond back to your query free of cost. My number is 9810604563. So I've given my number to each one of you, keeping in mind that we all try our best. It's a COVID-19 time period. Honorable Prime Minister has made request to the nation that stay safe, stay at home, take care of yourself, and together we will defeat Corona. Yes, we are fighting with invisible this virus. Let's pray to the invisible God for our safety. Take care of us with the lots of blessings coming from God's side to all of us. Everyone together will try our best staying at home and will try to defeat Corona. It's 2 hours almost. So let me say once again, thanks to each one of you from core of my heart for listening me so patiently today. Thank you very much. Thanks to ICSI team. Thank you once again to all of you. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much.
Okay. Will you able to hear me in the last 2 minutes time?
No, no, I could not. That's the reason. If you can repeat once again for the benefit of
Oh,
members.
okay,
Can you do
okay,
once?
okay. Sorry.
Can you do once again?
No, but I gave my sincere thanks to you, sir. There was some connectivity problem, I believe, from my end. I apologize for that. Thanks for a very beautiful presentation. In fact, you have explained very beautifully the notifications which has recently been announced by the department, which is I am very much sure which is very useful for the members, especially on the due dates. And you have given a very beautiful suggestion on uh, taxing on from accrual basis to receipt basis also. I'm sure institute from our side we will take it up to the ministry, even though it is a policy matter. I'm sure we will knock the doors. Whether the ministry will respond positively or not, let us wait for the day. Uh, Thanks once again for a very beautiful presentation. As I earlier said, you have mentioned that I am not going